Look around your house. The flat broom in your closet, the wooden clothespin in your laundry room, and the clean-lined chairs at your dining table are the results of highly deliberate design. These objects were not created by modern corporate engineers looking to maximize profit. They were invented by a radical, ecstatic 18th century religious sect known as the United Society of Believers in Christ's Second Appearing. Most people know them simply as the Shakers. The Shakers organized their entire existence around one supreme goal: complete separation from the secular world. They wanted to construct a literal, functioning heaven on earth, free from outside corruption. This creates a strange contradiction. A group that worked so hard to separate itself from American culture ended up providing the physical tools that helped define it. The group formed in 18th century Manchester, England. Led by a prophet named Mother Ann Lee, the early members faced religious persecution for their unorthodox beliefs. In 1774, Mother Ann and a small group of followers fled to America. Over the next few decades, they established pristine, self-sufficient Utopian villages in places like New Lebanon, New York, and Hancock, Massachusetts. Inside these villages, they enforced radical rules for the era. They practiced absolute communal ownership, maintained strict pacifism, and total gender and racial equality. Their daily routines were highly ordered and austere. On Sundays, however, their worship services erupted into intense, physically ecstatic dances where members would tremble, whirl, and shake to cast off sin. Because their theology demanded separation from outside society and their structure relied on communal equality, the Shakers had to supply everything they needed themselves. They became wildly self-reliant. Every object a Shaker crafted was driven by a single theological concept: the belief that manual labor is a form of active, continuous prayer. This theology strictly forbade anything they considered deceitful. Adding a thin wood veneer to cover a cheaper material, or carving decorative patterns into a table leg, were considered literal sins of pride. Stripped of decoration, Shaker artisans relied entirely on physical proportions and utility. Their woodworking required extreme precision, shaving material to its thinnest form while maintaining absolute structural integrity. This allowed members to easily hang chairs on wall pegs to clear the floor for dancing. The minimalistic aesthetic we admire today is the direct result of a religious mandate made physical in everyday objects. Their focus on work as prayer naturally extended to technology. If labor is a divine act, then unnecessary toil is a distraction from serving God. In the early 1800s, a Shaker woman named Sister Tabitha Babbitt watched men in her community struggling with a two-man pit saw, a long, heavy hand blade that required two people to painfully push and pull to cut logs into lumber. Applying the Shaker mindset of efficiency, she attached a round, toothed blade to a water-powered spinning machine, inventing the first circular saw for a sawmill. That same drive to save daily time led to several practical breakthroughs. They refined the flat broom, the wooden peg clothespin, and the mechanical apple parer. They scaled this technology to their agriculture. They built the rotary harrow, a farming tool with rotating spikes used to break up soil clods, and designed the massive round stone barn, structured circularly so wagons could efficiently drop off hay without ever having to back up. To support their villages, they pioneered commercial goods. They developed techniques for condensed milk boiled down in a vacuum pan with sugar to extend its shelf life, and created a business selling seeds in mail-order paper packets. Despite the quality of these improvements, the Shakers intentionally refused to patent their designs. They wanted their innovations to be freely copied. The rules of their society required them to share their technological progress with the very secular world they had explicitly rejected. A Shaker Utopian design contained a fatal structural flaw. Their strict adherence to absolute celibacy meant they produced no children. The survival of their communities relied entirely on outside converts. This chart shows the demographic collapse of the Shaker population against the rapid upward trend of American industrialization. Following the Civil War, the booming industrial economy provided thousands of manufacturing jobs, choking off the supply of new converts to the rural Shaker villages. With no new members to replace aging ones, their bustling villages gradually emptied. Over the next century, the communities faded, leaving behind only quiet architecture. By enforcing absolute celibacy, the Shakers ensured they would fail to reproduce biologically. Instead, they reproduced through their work. By stripping away everything they considered decorative or deceptive, they arrived at a level of pure functionality that outlived their theology.